I'm Harrison Graham. He's Chase Sr. Let's talk about the 76ers and Joel Embiid as he balled out the other night. We'll, of course, get you guys caught up on the latest around our good pal Ben Simmons. But, man, Ben Simmons' buddy, Joel Embiid, silencing the haters. I love the graphic there from producer Sam Brown. A little 50-piece the other night. Let's ride.
Dude, Joel Embiid has gone out there since coming off the COVID list
awesome
in December, and he's put on a show for Philadelphia. He's put on a show for the world. He's put on a show for all NBA fans. Last night against the Orlando Magic, he was unstoppable. He was a dominant force. He looked like Shaq physically in his prime, Hakeem Olajuwon with the footwork, Kobe Bryant with the fadeaway, and he was even running the point, running the floor at points. 50 points, 17 of 23, 15 of 17 from the free throw line, 3 blocks, 12 rebounds, and Harrison, he did this in 27 minutes of action. The 50-burger ties his career high. What this guy has been doing over the last month and a half truly is special, considering the fact he's as big as he is, he's as gifted as he is, and he doesn't have the help that he's had in previous years.
I was trying to do quick math here. So, like, NBA nerds always say per 36. What's his per 36 number? So
right there, insane.
He would have, I just did the quick math, it would be about 62 points.
Holy.
If he
Are you
played
Sam
36.
Hinkie?
Yeah, it's close.
Philadelphians like Sam Hinkie.
People
You
are
can
talking.
say yes, it's all good.
People are talking. Yeah, I mean, he may have gone for like 65 and 15 had he played 36 minutes in this game. You look at this note from ESPN Stats and Info saying that Embiid's 27 minutes of game time ranks second lowest in a 50-point game in the shot clock era. Well, Klay Thompson, the only other guy to do it, 26 and a half minutes, dropped 52. Well, man, Klay's had a few heaters over the years. The MVP candidate and 4-time All-Star played just 58 seconds of the fourth quarter. So certainly a historic night. And look, he also said that I have to be the best player in the world every single night for us to win.
He literally does.
And that's what he's been, man.
Yeah.
Look, the last month he's been the MVP. Now, early in the year he wasn't playing as well. The knee was still an issue coming off the end of the offseason. Then he gets COVID, which I actually think long-term benefited him because he probably was going to need to take some time off to let that knee heal because he kept having swelling. Well, he looks fresh now, Chase. He's been unbelievable for, like you said, 5 or 6 weeks now.
And look, I give him a lot of credit. There's been a lot of Ben Simmons drama that's just hovered over this franchise going back to training camp when he got booted out of that practice by Doc Rivers. Of course, Ben Simmons hasn't played a single minute. He's been getting fined. There have been so many reports about his trade rumors, so many reports about Clutch Sports. You know what Joel Embiid has done? He's brushed it all off the shoulder. He's moved forward, and he's had the best year of his career up to date. Now, a lot of you are watching saying, wait, better than last year when he finished second in MVP voting behind the Joker? I think he's been better this year because defenses have been able to hone in on him more because there's been no Ben Simmons. 28 points per game are his season tallies. Over the last 15 games, it's north of 30, 10 and a half rebounds, 4+ dimes as his passing has really improved, especially out of double teams. 49% from the field, and he's shooting a career best from distance as well from beyond the arc. He's given you more than a block a night, more than a steal per night. It's crazy. And you know what? We were having this text conversation, me, you, and the homies, Harrison, last night, and one of you posed it. Is Joel Embiid underrated and disrespected nationally? I think to a certain degree he is. Now, you watch him and you're like, he's special. At the same time, I'm not sure a lot of people include him as a top 5 player. The skill set, the dominance, the ability, the stats are top 5. I think a big reason for that as a Philadelphia guy, why he's on the outer edge of that, is because of the injuries. Give me the national perspective.
I think he's underrated in the sense that I don't think the average NBA fan, analyst, etc., considers him a top 5 player. But when he's healthy, he's undoubtedly a top 5 player. He's been a top 3 player the last 2 years when he's been fully healthy. I think he would have won MVP last year had he not had that injury at about the 2/3 mark of the season. I think he's got a shot to win it this year. If he can stay healthy the rest of the year and put up these numbers, he's got a real chance, especially if the Sixers end up with a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, which could happen if they keep playing really, really well, led by, of course, Joel Embiid. So we'll pose the question for you guys. Is he overrated, underrated, properly rated? He's definitely not overrated. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
There's some internet fraud out there who will say that.
Well, That would be V
sad.
V sad. Type U for underrated, type P for properly rated, or if you're a fraud, type O for overrated. Well, if you're not a fraud, get this tank because, hey, this is a sweet-looking tank top here. Chatsports.com/Sixers tank. Hey, before you know it, it'll be spring, summer. You can rock this at the pool. And, hey, maybe you're celebrating some Sixers playoff wins. You never know. Chatsports.com/Sixers tank. It's on sale. Go check it out. Link is in the comments. It's also in the description as well. So go ahead and take advantage of that. All right, so we shift from Joel Embiid. Where are we going to next here? We talking about Stephen A. Smith a little bit more? Okay, so trade deadline around the corner here, Chase. Here's what Stephen A. says about what the Sixers need to do. Got to pull the trigger because Joel Embiid, his health isn't guaranteed. You and I have said that quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say do it for anything, but that's not where I'm going. What I'm saying is you've had ample time. Ben Simmons lets you know over the summer that he wants out. I understand this commitment not to lose him for 20 cents on the dollar. Totally get that. All I'm saying, you're Daryl freaking Morey. Figure it out. And I do think he has a point. Now, until the trade deadline comes and goes, Chase, I'm going to give Daryl Morey the benefit of the doubt, but he's got to figure something out very, very soon because if this trade deadline comes and goes, and I think you would agree, it's a failure if you can't move Ben Simmons.
I see where Daryl Morey is coming from. He looks at Ben Simmons, and he's like, 3-time All-Star. You can make the argument he's the best defender in the league. He still has a lot of value. He's under contract, and he's only 25 years old. He wants an all-star player back for Ben Simmons. And Daryl Morey has always been aggressive. He's always been very aggressive in trade discussions. So that's where he's coming from. On the other side of that, and it really comes into play whether or not Joel Embiid is okay with not making a trade and waiting to the summer, or if he wants the team to go in all in right now. Because Embiid, you don't know how long his prime is going to last.
Yeah.
If Daryl Morey doesn't trade away Ben Simmons by the NBA trade deadline and Joel Embiid is having an MVP caliber year, are you wasting a year of Embiid's maximum prime? You are. And in doing so, does that then lead to Daryl Morey just botching this entire situation? I'm not sure how Simmons' value is going to change from now at the NBA trade deadline to the summer. I still don't think in the summer you can trade him away for a Beal or a James Harden. So if you can get back Tyrese Halliburton and Harrison Barnes, as well as Buddy Hield, I think that's a really good return for Ben Simmons and his current value. If you rid yourself of the Tobias Harris contract as well on top of that, I like it even more. And with those three guys, I think the team might even be a little bit better than it is right now.
Yeah, well, it definitely is because Simmons isn't playing. And that's kind of the point. Unless he comes back and plays, you're never going to get max trade value. So at this point, you got to figure out what you can get for him. Big 3 weeks coming up for Daryl Morey. What do you want him to do? Type T for trade Ben Simmons. Type W for wait. We'll see what happens. I think it's still 50-50 on if Ben Simmons gets moved before the deadline. All right, Chase, tell the folks why they should subscribe to Philadelphia 76ers now.
Well, if a trade happens, we're going to be the first ones to let you know. And we're not those, old school journalist stiffs who just don't give you anything entertaining and always give you the mundane coverage. We cover it all here on Philadelphia 76ers Now. News, rumors, trade rumors, and we bring it to you in an informative and educational, entertaining way. And I hail from the Philadelphia area. All reasons why you got to subscribe. Started it in the summer, approaching 4K subs. Pretty unbelievable. Now let's get to Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, we actually give opinions here at Chat Sports. Who would have thought? Matisse Thybulle, is he untouchable in a trade? You wanted to pose this question. Why is that?
Because the Philadelphia Inquirer, according to Keith Pompey, said that Matisse Thybulle is untouchable. Ooh. Now, that would be important because earlier in the year, over the summer, you were talking about Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, Ben Simmons, all being included in a potential trade for a guy like Damian Lillard. And Matisse Thybulle right now, one of the best defenders in the NBA. So Philadelphia Inquirer on one of the elite defenders in the association saying this. Another source said the Sixers haven't received a formal trade offer at this time for Matisse. The source added that none of those talks have involved Thybulle or any of the Sixers' other young players. Speaking of Thybulle specifically, the source added the second-team all-defensive selection is close to being untouchable. I love Thybulle as a player. I love his energy. His masterful defensive performance against Steph Curry at the Wells Fargo Center back several weeks ago was one of the best individual defensive performances I've ever seen in the NBA. What he did in that series last year against the Atlanta Hawks is really special. He has all-world defensive upside. I wish he'd become a more consistent offensive player and shooter. If he could become just a pretty competent outside shooter, we're talking about a very, very valuable asset, and the Sixers still see him as that up to this point.
I just figured this out on the fly. You know who Matisse Thybulle is? He's the modern day Bruce Bowen.
Yes. Kind of like Andre Roberson, too, before he got hurt with OKC.
And over time, Bowen kind of was able to figure out that corner three. If Thybulle can add that to his game, then, I mean, he's a rotation player for 13 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're looking at here. So rate Matisse Thybulle as a player, scale of 1 to 100. His offense is like defense is like a 95, Chase, but the offense a ways to go. Maybe in the 50s or 60s there. So rate him overall from 1 to 100.